There are 10 items that are commonly considered essential anytime you're going to go out into the outdoors. I call them the Bear Necessities, and they're listed here. Food, water, sun protection, insulation, illumination, fire starting gear, map and compass, first aid kit, shelter, and a repair kit. All of those things should fit into a small backpack like this. This is a small camelback style hydration pack. So the first item on the list was food. It's pretty much anything you want, just make sure it's not refrigerated and no preparation is required. Second, water. I'm a big fan of hydration bladders because it makes it easy to stay hydrated while you're on the move, but a water bottle, even disposable one, is perfectly fine. Next is sun protection. Some kind of sunscreen and lip balm with an SPF at a minimum. But for those that are a little bit fairer skinned, some kind of a hat or long sleeve shirts may be appropriate. Your insulation, this is a raincoat. This is my preference. It's obviously waterproof, windproof, and provides some kind of insulation, some kind of warmth. But windbreakers and fleece or something like that is just fine as well. The only thing to avoid is any kind of cotton. Cotton does not provide any warmth when it's wet, and it takes a really long time to dry once it is wet. So no cotton. And the last item on this tray is a headlamp. And this will count as our illumination. Headlamps are great. You can use them hands-free. You can hike with them. You can do just about anything, but a flashlight works as well. The sixth item is some kind of a method to start a fire. Easiest method I've found is a cotton ball dipped in petroleum jelly. The cotton starts really easily, and then the petroleum jelly burns hot and slowly to help get the fire started. I would suggest putting them into a small rigid-sided container like this. This holds 2 of them. I got it at Walmart for about 50 cents. To start the fire, use the old style matchbook. You just pull one off, you bend the tab over, and it's easy for the girls to pinch and pull and start the fire. To make the cotton balls, it's pretty self-explanatory. You could either just take your cotton ball and smear it in there and you're done, or you can take a cotton ball and stick it in a bowl with some petroleum jelly in there and smear the cotton ball around. This will actually get more petroleum jelly onto the cotton fibers, making it last longer. But the best method I've found is to actually dip the cotton ball in liquid petroleum jelly. All I did was melt the petroleum jelly. It has a very low melting point. Just dunk it in there and you're done. Just make sure you leave at least 50% of the cotton exposed, because that is where the fire will start, and then this side where the petroleum jelly is where it will burn hot and slow. The next item is a map and compass. All you'll need is a compass. This is a base plate style compass. The minimum requirement for this is that it has a rotating bezel and that it's marked off in 2-degree increments. Any less than that, it's really not accurate enough for our purposes. But if you have another compass laying around that's got more features than that, that's totally fine. You know, this is a much more elaborate style, but this will work just as well or better than this. No map is required, but if you were doing your own thing, that would be good to have. Next is some kind of a first aid kit. First aid kits get very elaborate, but for our purposes, let's just keep it simple. You need a couple band-aids of various sizes, some Neosporin or similar for cuts. For bigger scrapes, you may want a couple gauze pads and some medical tape. For blisters, some moleskin and a small pair of scissors. I like this rounded blunt point. Makes it pretty safe for the girls to use, and you don't have to worry about it damaging your gear while you're backpacking with it or carrying it or whatever you're doing. And then you need a ace bandage. This is great for wrapping up sprains. They come in much wider varieties, but it would totally work, but it's not necessary. I found that the 2-inch is a little bit easier for the girls to wrap with. And then a bandana. Bandanas have tons of different uses. For us, we'll be using it as a sling. And the last couple items is a repair kit and a shelter. Well, the repair kit is more gear specific if you had electronics or inflatable mattress or something like that. We don't have any of that, so for us all we care about is some kind of a cordage. This is perfect. It's a 325-pound test paracord. This is what I use to make these bracelets. The Joshua Tree, they work perfectly fine. This holds about 6 feet worth of cordage, which is good. You can also wrap cordage around a hiking stick like this, make a handle or decorations. Obviously the more you have, the better. For our purposes, we're going to be using cordage to make a shelter. So we need about 30 feet or more. This is a great way to store it. You just stick it in there and it won't get all tangled up. But you can wrap it up or whatever works best for you. For our shelter, we're going to be using a reinforced space blanket. This particular one is this style right here. But it's waterproof. It's going to give you a little bit of warmth if you wrap it around you. It'll reflect a little bit of the heat from a fire down on you if you actually needed to use it and it was cold out. And it also works well as a ground cloth if the ground was wet and you wanted to sit down or lay down. That concludes the Bear Necessities.